testing. Okay. Let's make sure stream is up. Okay, alright. It looks like we're live. Alright, so yeah, brief intro though. So here, I mean, I just decided to do this for fun. I'm gonna review a duel by two players called Build the Walia and Lunar Dark Gaia, and we have about like 60 players on our like online Goat League on Duelist Grounds, and like we have a medal system. You know, it goes, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, master, kind of like you'll see in a lot of other places. And these are the only two bronze players for GOAT. So these are the two worst players. And, I figured it'd be good to review their match because there's probably, like, a lot that we can learn from it, like, in terms of mistakes. So hold on, let me go back here. I already started. Hold on. Yeah, I guess like Wally is mad that like I called him bad or something in the chat. Okay, so hold on. Let me. Okay, yeah, we look good now. So yeah, Wally won the die roll. He's going first, and judging by his opening hand, it looks like he's playing Angel Chaos. So yeah, let me pause. So he summons Shining Angel and decides to set a Metamorphosis, which, I mean, it can be fine. It's worth noting this isn't, like, a very good hand. Like, we have double meta with, like, our only target being, like, kind of Shining Angel, and then we have, like, Tribe Infecting Virus, which is pretty bad in the opening hand. So obviously, like, we're gonna play Shining Angel this turn. It's a question of whether we summon or set it, and there are actually pros and cons to both. Like, obviously, the pro to summoning it is that, like, if we set it and get our guy, like, hit by a crossout, we're in a really bad spot. But, like, the plus to setting it is that if our opponent, like, attacks our set Shining Angel and we search, like, Magical Merchant, and then we can go, like, Tsukiyomi, flip our Magical Merchant up and down, net an extra card, and then meta it and take their monster, that is like a really good play. Now you might be thinking, well, you can still do that play even if you summon it. That's true, but the problem is if we summon Shining Angel, our opponent isn't particularly likely to attack it because they know that we have those kinds of plays available. Whereas if we set it, like we sort of keep our options concealed, and then like our opponent might be more inclined to attack the set. He might be worried about like, I don't know, Dakochi or like some sort of like insane like morphing jar play or something like that. So like it's just worth noting. Like yeah, I mean, yeah, if he has cross-eyed, he's gonna use it turn one, obviously, decent chance. But you have to like evaluate the risk reward. So yeah, I mean, I don't know like how much we know about our opponent, like in terms of like what deck he's on, how he plays, etc. But I would at least consider setting the Shining Angel here. Like, it's something that should at least cross your mind, is what I'm trying to say. Like, you need to be aware of the pros and cons of both plays. If you are aware of the pros and cons of both plays, and you decide to do this play, like, okay, fine, it's not the worst play in the world. But I'm saying, like, it's something that you need to think about, right? Like, you can't, like, go into autopilot and not consider all of your options. And then the second thing that he does is that he sets a Metamorphosis here, which, again, like, they're pros and cons. Like, overall, I don't like this play of setting Metamorphosis. Like, it does accomplish a couple of things. One thing that it accomplishes is that it could potentially bait out a breaker, which is kind of good for us, right? Because, like, if he breakers our meta, we don't care about losing the meta. Like, our Tsukiyomi can kill the breaker for free. Or, like, if the breaker attacks our angel, we can, like, get Merchant and do the play that I was talking about. Or we could even get Faith, right? If he, since our meta will be in the grave. So, like, that accomplishes that. But I don't like setting meta for one reason. And that is, if our opponent duos us, I'd rather have a 5-card hand than a 4-card hand. Because, like, if our opponent duos us, like, we really don't want to lose Tsukiyomi. We don't care about the other cards very much, but we really don't want to lose the Tsukiyomi. So I would want to, like, minimize the chances that happens. And there's also the fact that we have Heavy Storm in our hands, and like setting meta with a Heavy Storm in our hand is just super super awkward because like if we're gonna go for a meta play, like say our opponent like attacks us and we do get something like Merchant, right? We want to Heavy Storm before we meta our Merchant into 1,000 Eyes. That way our guy can't get booked. But it would be awkward because we have to like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna like Heavy Storm our own meta and then play the other meta, or we're just gonna meta and hope he doesn't have book and then heavy. Like, it's just not like a very good play. Like, there's like a couple of like tiny scenarios where like setting meta here can be better, but like the fact that we have Heavy Storm in our hand should trump that. No, build the Wally, puns intended. So yeah, I believe he passes. Our opponent has Pot of Greed, which is fine. And our opponent's setting like 3 back rows and a monster. So I mean, we don't know what we're up against. It could be like some sort of deck with like Solemns maybe. Like right away, I'm possibly considering that he has Morphing Jar. The only thing that makes me think it's not Morphing Jar is that he went Pot of Greed turn 1. Whereas if he had Morphing, like, maybe he would have, like, set Pot of Greed and set Morphing. So this is kind of like a weird spot. We go ahead and Heavy Storm, which, okay, I can be fine with, I guess. But note, like, if we hadn't set the meta, we'd just be in a much better spot. Even if our opponent had set, like, 2 back rows instead of 3, and we got to like keep the meta in our hand, like I would be fine with that. But our opponent's playing Scapegoat. It's worth noting, like keep in mind I'm mainly looking at like Wallia's side of the table, so like I'm mainly trying to criticize his play, not Lunar's. But like setting these 3 back rows turn 1 is awful. Like why are we doing like this makes no sense. Like what are you gonna need like Torrential for, right? Like setting Saku plus Goat to be fine. There's like no need to set the Torrential unless he's like trying to set up like again some sort of morphing play. So plays Tribe, discards the Tsukiyomi. I'm not sure if I like this unless we have like a hard read on the Morphing Jar and we're gonna set like 2 back rows and attack into it and try to blow him out. Tsukiyomi is definitely one of the better cards in our hand. I would, since like one of our metas is gone, of course, like if we kept the meta in our hand, we'd just discard like the second meta here. But since we did lose our first meta, I'd probably just discard the Scapegoat, keep the Tsukiyomi in our hand, and then we can like, if he kills Angel, we get to search level 1, and then we can like 1,000 Eyes, 1,000 Eyes plus Tsukiyomi lock our opponent. Like Tsukiyomi is a power card, and we just should never be discarding it here, unless we have like 2 in our hand or something like that. The only plus to like discarding Tsukiyomi here is that it does put a dark in our grave, so that like if our opponent kills our Angel and we draw a Chaos Monster, it'll be live. But yeah, I would generally prefer to like discard the Goat here because we're probably not going to need that anytime soon. Whereas Tsukiyomi, there is a decent chance that we'll need that. Like it'll be so awkward. Like imagine like our opponent like I don't know like has a meta in his hand and like he draws Sinister and then he like goes into 1,000 Eyes and like takes our Angel. Like what like how do we ever beat that, right? We'll just never be able to beat 1,000 Eyes here. Whereas if we keep the Tsukiyomi in our hand, we can easily beat the 1,000 Eyes. So like literally the only time I like this play is if we have like a hard read on Morphing Jar and we're gonna set 2 and attack into it, which we don't do for some reason. We should at least set the Scapegoat before we attack, right? Just in case it's morphing. Because, I mean, I don't know what happens, but I imagine he's just going to perhaps set the Scapegoat main phase 2. I mean, yeah. So, yeah, like, realize here that there is just no downside to setting Scapegoat in our main phase 1. Because if our opponent does have morphing, we don't lose our Scapegoat. We're going to set it anyway. Like, there's like no monster in the format that like kills our back row when we attack into it. So there's just no downside to setting it main phase 1. Okay, so our opponent Gracefuls, that seems pretty good. He discards Air Knight, which is pretty good for him. Okay, he's gonna kill our Tribe. I mean, this kind of sucks. Because he's gonna kill our Tribe. Like, if we ever go into 1,000 Eyes with our meta, like, his Tsukiyomi can just kill it. And he is going to bring back Air Knight. Yes, this looks like this is a pretty bad spot for him. I don't know if this is like a good play from our opponent or not, because like if we had Mirror Force, like we would just blow him the fuck out. But it pays off here. I mean, I guess this does play like Sakuretsu, right? Like if we Saku the Air Knight, then the Tsukiyomi gets to kill our tribe. So I actually don't hate this play that much. So he's gonna like book and cross out, I guess. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know if I like that. Like you're basically trading 2 cards to kill 1. I don't think DD Warrior Lady matters enough to do this. And yeah, Green Kappa has to kill exactly 2 back rows, not 1. So even Green Kappa can't kill the set goats, because Wally is mentioning that in the chat. This is a pretty risky play here. Like, okay, like he gets to negate like a card like Pot of Greed if we top deck that. He gets to negate like Meta. But this is like a pretty risky play, right? Like if we top deck any Chaos monster, like Lunar is in like such a bad position. Like I think Lunar in general, like the main problem that I see here from Lunar, just it's only like 3 turns into the game, but like Lunar is just definitely like overcommitting, like just in general. He definitely like doesn't have like the right mindset as far as like how to play this deck. But yeah, like there's so many things that like we can draw at this point. Like a Chaos Sorcerer would be sick, a Snatch Deal would be sick. Even like a Premature to get back our tribe would be sick. I mean, I don't know if he runs Premature. Like some Chaos builds don't. But yeah, we have like so many good draws. Yeah, Mirror Force, that works too. Like, I mean, our opponent does get to search the Sengen. I'm guessing he's gonna opt to get Sinister. Yeah, like obviously he has Sinister and Tsukiyomi in his hand. So if he has Meta, like we could definitely be in trouble. But like we're back in the game. Like we have a cross out for whatever this set monster is. For some reason, it's telling us that it's Tsukiyomi, even though like we haven't seen it yet. But obviously, like he doesn't know it's Tsukiyomi. And like I don't even mind crossing out the Tsukiyomi here as well, unless our opponent has a second one. Like not having to worry about Tsukiyomi is definitely pretty nice. That's of course like a really good duo. Keep in mind we could consider setting a Speller Trap there to play around duo. It's just say like it depends on what you want to play around, right? Like obviously if we set a Speller Trap, then we like get fucked by Breaker. If we don't, we get fucked by duo. So it's like it's kind of a 50-50. There's the Breaker. Yeah, so we're losing pretty badly. I assume our opponent's going to get in for 16. Keep in mind, we can still top a Sorcerer and be back in this game, right? Like, we just Sorcerer the Sinister, and, like, we could easily be back in this game. Like, we're at 59, which isn't that bad. Like, wow, and our opponent has another Air Knight. Yeah, yeah, things aren't looking good for us. Things not looking good for us at all. I mean, yeah, I guess we're booking the Air Knight there. What else are we going to do? Yeah, Sangan is not going to help. Yeah, I mean, we could summon Sangan. We could set it. It's kind of the same shit. I don't know. Yeah, that's game there. Yeah, the 35 plus 1,045. Yeah, that's game. Okay. So we're going to game 2. It doesn't show us what our opponent like sided or what we sided. So like keep in mind, as me watching, I have no idea what got sided. Well, this is a sick hand. We have like Pot, Duo, and Sinister. Like opening double Chaos Monster isn't that great, but everything else is pretty nice. Yeah, and like we're definitely just gonna gun Duo here. Like there's been some debate recently, a tiny bit of debate about whether like you're supposed to like duo early game or not. I pretty much always duo early game. Like okay, our opponent like he had the Sinister. There's a 1 in 8 chance. So yeah, I definitely agree with setting ring in passing here. Like that's pretty straightforward. Like we don't want to like get tricky and like set a heavy instead. Like we're just gonna set ring. Oh, this Sangin's brutal. This is such like a bad Sangin for us. Cause like we paid 1,000 turn 1, we're taking another 1,000, and we have ring set. Yeah, Merchant's a really good draw. Like we just set that and pray to God our opponent doesn't have cross out. Yeah, I like ring here. Azura Priest is like kind of annoying against our deck, so we definitely just want to get rid of that ASAP. Like, if we don't ring, we're going to take 1,000 anyways, so we might as well just take 17. Did our opponent just not attack with his Sangin? I have no idea why you would do that. And if you're not going to attack with Sangin, you should be switching it to defense. Oh, wow, we milled 2 monsters. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Like, unfortunately, we didn't mill a dark, but we definitely have enough lights for the rest of the game, which is still pretty nice. I guess I'm not really sure what our plan is. Yeah, setting... What did we set? We set cross out. I actually agree with this play. Josh 7, yeah. You can... Yeah, Josh 7 in the chat asked, where can I play this game? Duelingbook.com is the app that we use. I would also recommend joining our Discord, where we have, like, this GOAT format league. Hold on. I'm gonna post a link to our Discord in the chat. So yeah, Josh 7, join our Discord there. And that's where we have like this GOAT format league. It's like about 60 players. But yeah, anyways, like, you know, I don't know, like, what Wally's reasoning was on setting the cross out. Like, I don't know if he just did it because, like, he felt like it. But, like, this is actually a good play because it accomplishes a couple of things. One is that we're kind of low on life points, and we don't want our opponent to, like, just summon a bunch of monsters and attack us for game. So, it's good as a bluff, and it's also good because... if our opponent, like, say, for example, like, sets a monster and sets 2 spells or traps, we can cross out the monster and then Heavy Storm to get a 2-for-1. So, setting cross out is actually good. I'm not sure if I agree with setting the Sinister, though. Because, like, our opponent hasn't used any cross outs yet. We don't really want to get our Sinister crossed out. So, I don't know. I probably would have not set the Sinister. Like, more than likely the result is, like, our opponent probably does the same play anyways, right? Like, he probably just, you know, has Sangin attack, sets a monster, or whatever. So, yeah, we cross out the Merchant, and, yeah, are we running any Merchants ourselves? I mean, we have one in the grave. Okay, so, yeah, we have to banish another one. That's fine. Our opponent's running 2 Merchants, too, in his GOAT control list, which is kind of interesting. I'm more of a fan of, like, Spy than Merchant and GOAT control, but, like, that's just me. You see, here I don't think we need to set the second cross out. We have like, 2 monsters to defend with. So, yeah, like, I would not set the cross out in this particular spot. I have no idea why we sided in Dust Shoot. Dust Shoot is awful against GOAT control. Do not side in Dust Shoot against GOAT control. So yeah, we're probably... See, like, what we'd want to do here, this is so awkward. Because if we, like, didn't have Dust Shoot, we'd probably just want to get back our duo and just duo our opponent. But now, like, maybe we don't since we have Dust Shoot. Like... So yeah, like, I guess we're probably getting back Pot of Greed now. I mean, Pot of Greed's, yeah, like, if we have, like, double Dust Shoot, this is, like, so bad. It's like we're just gonna do, like, a bunch of nothing. We have, like, 1,000,000 cards, but we can just still lose this game. What did we do? We set Dust Shoot MST? No. Okay, so if you have double Dust Shoot in this spot, you can, and your opponent is drawing to 4, you can activate 1 Dust Shoot and then chain the second Dust Shoot to the first Dust Shoot and then get 2 cards out of their hand. So yeah, like we should definitely be setting the second dust shoot here. Plus, if like our opponent dusted our dust shoot here, then we would have a second one. So yeah, this is like a huge mistake. Yeah, I mean we don't get to see what his hand is for some reason, but yeah, because having 4 cards in hand, it's an activation condition, not a condition that applies upon the resolution. Like that's why if you activate dust shoot, your opponent can't like chain a quick play spell from their hand to make it fizzle. You can activate a dust shoot, chain a second one, but we just shouldn't be siding in dust shoot anyways. It's worth noting that this graceful. First of all, I have no idea why card destruction is in our opponent's deck, and our opponent should not have graceful tier. He should have waited for Sengen to die and search Sinister, and then graceful discard the Sinister for a +1. So, like, obviously, as Walia here, it's really good that our opponent just, like, burned a graceful. And I imagine he's going to attack into our Faith, yeah. And, like, it's so awkward, because, like, our Sinister's been set this entire game, so if our opponent is, like, a thinking player at all, he should probably know that, like, it's either something like a Sinister or, like, a Spirit Reaper, right? Like, something that, you know, we just can't flip up. Or, like, a Big Shield Garda. Like, some sort of defensive card like that. Like, he should be pretty aware that we probably don't have a flip monster. I'm not sure if I like this Heavy Storm. Not because our opponent chained goats, but because, like, we have no follow-up. Yeah, our opponent like didn't have any call targets anyways. Yeah, like what are we doing here? Why are we doing this? Like Heavy Storm, Summon, Breaker? Like why not just Breaker, break one of the sets and then attack? Like this makes no sense. Yeah. I mean even Walia agrees. Breaker would have been better. Like I tell you, like it would like be kind of shitty if our opponent like had a snatch steal or something, just like snatch our breaker, break our set. Yeah, like you know, our opponent. Keep in mind, he just graceful last turn. He's like searching Sinister now. Like if he had just not graceful last turn, like he could, you know, he'd basically have like an extra card. It'd be like he'd have like 4 cards right now instead of 3, and the game would be like so much better for him. And he has snatch. Yeah, so like. There's like so many misplays here. Like if we had double dust shooted, we'd probably be in a way better spot. If our opponent had waited a turn to graceful, he'd be in a way better spot. So like this is just one of those games where like the person who misplays more is probably gonna lose because at this point they've already made some pretty major mistakes. So yeah, we gain 1,000. This is such like an awkward spot. Well, I mean, we're obviously getting back Sinister. Okay, or we're not getting back Sinister. Good job. See, the problem with this Snatch here, I do not like this Snatch. And the reason why is the fact that all we can do is attack Scapegoats and just let our opponent gain life every turn. Which, like, isn't that great. Like, what we want to be doing, our opponent is Goat Locked here. We can just set Sinister every turn, right? Because, like, if he had a crossout, he would have used it already. So he has to top deck it. That's a 2 in 25 chance. And you know, we can set Book, like, just in case our opponent, I don't know, does something scary, right? So, like, I would just be adding Sinister, just set Sinister every turn, and just gain our free 1,000 every turn. Like, it's just free. Like, obviously, here we still get to gain 1,000 every turn as long as our opponent, like, doesn't, I don't know, doesn't do something. But, like, I would just rather leave our opponent Goat Locked and not give him wow, Cylinder. 1,000 every turn. Yeah, and like here I wouldn't even book our breaker because the problem with booking the breaker is that now we're not gaining 1,000 every turn. Like, look at how much not setting Sinister here fucked us. Like, we booked our breaker, made our opponent's snatch steal go away. All right, we're not taking 16, but we're at 38, and like we're not gaining 1,000 every turn, which sucks. So like. I don't know. I would just set Sinister, collect our free 1,000 life every turn, and like it's just so hard for our opponent to claw back in the game unless he top decks exactly a crossout. Because like meta won't work. Like what's he gonna do? Meta take our Sinister? Like that doesn't do anything. Like he basically needs to have exactly crossout. So like obviously like we're still favored to win. We're in a good position, but like. the game's not over yet. Like, our opponent can still easily win, like, with some good draws. All he needs to do is, like, get back a Sinister, like, top deck a Pot of Greed or something, and we can just easily lose. Whereas, we could just goat luck our opponent and just make it so hard for our opponent to win. Oh, and our opponent has heavy. Like, if he has any kind of follow-up, that is not good for us. And I guess, like, he heavied before playing Pot of Greed in case, like, we had Solemn or something. So yeah, like, what I would be doing here is, obviously we know our opponent's set is Sinister, right? Because it literally can't be anything else. So I would be flipping our Sinister, attacking 2 Goats, and then main phase 2 Tsukiyomiing our set Sinister. Yeah, like, what does this accomplish? Our opponent, I mean, I don't know why he Saku'd our Breaker. I mean, this is just all kinds of bad. Our opponent has no reason to Saku our Breaker, and we have no reason to attack into a Sinister. He just gets it back for free. I mean, the only thing, there's one reason to attack the set Sinister, and that is because we're worried about him top-decking Air Knight. But even if he top-decks Air Knight, we can just kill it with a Chaos Monster, so it's, like, not even a big deal, unless he has, like, exactly top-decked Air Knight, like, into set Ring to kill us, or something strange like that. And like, I don't know why we're setting Tsukiyomi. Like, what is setting Tsukiyomi intended to accomplish? Like, if our opponent isn't brain dead, he should know that our other set here is Sinister, because we just haven't flipped it. So, like, if our opponent draws the cross out, he's gonna cross out our Sinister, not our Tsukiyomi. Okay, so I guess now we're doing this play that I mentioned. I mean, we should be doing it the other way around, right? Because, like, we want to attack with Sinister. That way, like, he can't just, like, Mirror Force our Tsukiyomi and kill it. And again, like, I have no idea why we're attacking our opponent's set Sinister. And if we are, it should be with our own Sinister. Right? That way we don't just let our opponent, Saku our Tsukiyomi. So yeah, like, we're making a lot of tactical errors here. I have no idea why we have a goat token on our side of the field. Okay, yeah, I guess that's just like a misclick. So we top decked an Air Knight, which is a card that we probably shouldn't be playing in this deck, but because of the fact that you can, like, open hands like Sork BLS Air Knight and then just not have any plays. But despite the fact that this card is awful in our deck, we do happen to top deck it in a very good spot. And for some reason, we're not playing it. I have no idea why. I mean, our opponents used 2 Sakus, right? Like, I would just be tributing our Sinister for Air Knight and just be getting it in. Right? Like, we knock our opponent down to 35, draw a card. I don't know. Seems pretty good if you ask me. Oh, God. Now he's BLSing us. I assume he's going to banish our set Sinister. Or not, because I guess he's terrible. So we have some interesting options. We have not used our DD Warrior Lady yet, so we're going to take 16 here. Keep in mind, we cannot search with Shining Angel here and then not have to worry about taking any more damage, which is something to consider. So let's see. Let's do the math. We go down to 22. If we search DD Warrior Lady, our opponent can attack it and put us down to 700. Which I guess isn't that bad. Like, if we top deck Premature, it's going to be dead, but... Alright, I guess he's just going to do that. God, I just hope our opponent doesn't have, like, Seize Fire or something like that. That would just make me cry. So yeah, he's setting Sinister again. Yeah, I mean, if we had Air Knighted last turn, we'd be, like, in a so much better spot. Because we'd have, like, 1 extra card. We would have taken less damage. So we're setting Sega. Yeah, like, I'm not really sure, like, what we're trying to accomplish here. Like, I don't know what our plan is. Our opponent's at 54. And, like, I'm not sure how we plan on winning this game. Like, what are we waiting for exactly? I mean, drawing Scapegoat's very good for us. I mean, if our opponent had Ring, we'd just be dead, right? Because he would have just put us down to 22, ringed his BLS, then the game would have been over. So we actually know for a fact he doesn't have Ring. Because Wally is saying, like, oh, I'm scared of Ring. If our opponent had Ring, the game would already be over. So our opponent clearly doesn't have Ring. Is he going to flip Sinister and Torrential? Okay. Yeah, like... I mean, luckily this is, like, a pretty good Torrential for us. Because we get rid of all our opponent's goats, and we search for Sagan. Like, this play, like, oddly worked out quite well. I don't know if I actually like searching Tsukiyomi here. Like, what are we going to do with this Tsukiyomi, right? Like, we don't have any metas. I mean, we could top deck a meta. We have 3 left in our deck. Personally, all of our faiths are gone. For some reason, I thought we still had one. This is the first replay. So yeah, if all of our faiths weren't gone, I'd say we should search faith. But I guess since all of our faiths are gone, we don't really have much better options. So yeah, so Tsukiyomi's fine in that case. Like our only other option would be, I don't know. Like, I guess it depends on what cards he plays in his deck, right? Like, if he has something, if he plays like something like Takochi, he can search that. That's like about it. Yeah, like all of our merchants are gone, all of our faiths are gone, our DD Warrior Lady's gone. Yeah, so this angel has exactly no targets, unless he plays like Third Magician of Faith or Roulette Barrel. I would actually just consider like putting the pressure on our opponent by like BLSing his set monster and then tributing for Air Knight. Like, the problem is, and his Snatch is already gone. So yeah, we don't even have to worry about Snatch. Yeah, I would BLS the set monster and tribute for Air Knight. Like, we should have played Air Knight forever ago, but as played, that's definitely what I would do. Because we're up so many cards, like, we need to like start putting the pressure on our opponent. Because, like, here's the thing. When we're at, like, low life, our opponent's at 54, and we're up a million cards. Like, we can't sit here and just play draw go. Because our opponent eventually will draw the ring. Like, we need to put pressure on our opponent. Like, when you're up on cards in GOAT control format, you have to, like, start trying to convert those extra cards into an actual win condition. Like, your opponent isn't going to concede because you're just up 4 cards. Like, you need to actually, you know... Yeah, this is super awkward because like we set our Tsukiyomi, and like now it's just gonna get eaten up by this 1,000 Eyes, and we have like no more Tsukiyomis in our deck. What is he doing? What is going on here? Oh, he wants to attack for 11. Oh, that's fair. Oh, okay, I actually like this play from him because he's down so many cards. And yeah, I would try to go for game and hope that our back row is nothing. I actually agree with this play from Lunar. Like when you're down cards, you have to go for those kind of like high risk, high reward plays, I think. So now we have a few different options. Like the safe play, I think, is just summon Angel and attack. We can also, like, BLS and, like, try to double attack. I don't know why we're just, like, not killing our opponent's 1,000 Eyes. I mean, I guess, like, we're saying, oh, I want to, like, torrential his Tsukiyomi or something. The problem is if, like, we torrential, all he needs is, like, a BLS or a premature burial. Or, no, not a premature burial because he has, like, no targets. But yeah, like again, we need to be putting like some sort of pressure on our opponent. The cool thing about summoning Angel is like, yeah, he can Tsukiyomi, like flip it down and kill it, but he might not know that we have no targets left in our deck. Yeah, and our opponent's like going Tsukiyomi and like flipping itself down for some reason. And like just I have no idea what's going on here. Hi, Yusei is not dead. But yeah, I have no idea what's going on here. Like, our opponent summoned Suki, targeted itself, and got torrentialed. Pretty weird. And we have Sinister in our grave, so we should definitely be getting back Sinister. It really sucks that our Tsukiyomi's gone. Oh, what are we doing? See, like again, we need to be putting pressure. Like, what is this? How is a zero attack 1,000 is gonna win us the game? Like, what's our plan? Like, I mean, I guess next turn we're gonna like tribute it for Air Knight. Is that our plan? I don't know why our opponent's using end phase goats. Like, he does have Sinister in his hand, right? Yeah, he definitely still has Sinister. Right? We didn't dust shoot it or anything. Yeah, this is so bizarre. So yeah, I mean, I assume that we're sucking up a goat token and tributing for Air Knight. Just for the record, it still equips even in current format. The token doesn't disappear. It never has disappeared. Probably never will. And yeah, like what are we doing here? Like, I don't understand what our plan is. Like, what is this intended to accomplish? Like, this is what you need to ask yourself with every play. Like, what is my game plan? What does this like? How does this play help me achieve my game plan? And now, like, keep in mind, all of our Tsukiyomis are gone. We're in this like really weird locked board state. I mean, I guess we're just gonna like Sork his Thousand Eyes. See, like, what's so bizarre to me is like we're obviously running Angel Chaos. Angel Chaos generally does not play Air Knight because it is situational. And what's so bizarre is that we've had so many good opportunities to play Air Knight. Like, we're getting rewarded for drawing this, like, card that has, like, no synergy in our deck whatsoever. And yet we're just never playing it. Like, I don't understand. Like, if you're going to play bad cards, can you at least actually use them when they're good? Like, our opponent's Snatch is gone, so we don't have to be worried about that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get, like, what we're doing here. And Yusei in the chat asks, what are our thoughts on Dark Oiler Hot S? It is worse than the other tribute monsters in the format, which are, you know, Air Knight is considered to be the best one. Jinzo is probably second best. Then, like, third best would, like, probably be, like, Zaborg or Mobius. Okay, so I guess we're Sorking the Thousand Eyes. That's obviously just standard play. Okay, so we're gonna meta and get... I don't even know what. Like, we don't have enough to pay for Ryu Senshi. I mean, I guess we're Ojama locking him here. The problem with this play is that we can't try to deck him out because we have 5 less cards in our deck than our opponent does. So, like, again, like, I don't understand what our plan is. You gotta be the man with the plan. I mean, I guess on a plus side, our opponent has used all 3 of his metas. So, like, what do we have? Have we used our heavy yet? Yeah, we've used our heavy, we've used our MST, we've used our breaker. I mean, I guess we're trying to, like, figure out some sort of game setup. Our opponent's used Torrential, but he hasn't used Mirror Force yet. So, like, I don't know, like, what our plan is for, like, getting rid of Mirror Force, right? Yeah, like, we've played this game just, like, so wrong. Like, if Lunar was good... If Lunar was good, he should easily win this game. Because we have only, like, 3 cards left in our deck. Lunar still has a Mirror Force. And, like, we just don't really, like, have any plan here. Yeah, even, like, for the Chaos Reasoning decks, I'd probably play Air Knight. Because, like, Air Knight's a light, which is really nice. And, like, it gets in damage. Dark Hot S is, like, a level 6. So I guess you could play, like, 1 Dark Hot S as, like, a reasoning mix-up. You could play, like, 1 Dark Hot S, 1 Jinzo, and, like, 1 or 2 Air Knights. It's funny, like, as Lunar, I'm not even sure if I would Mirror Force there. Because, like, if we just let the Air Knight go through, like from Lunar's side of the table, if we let the Air Knight go through, we only go down to 35, right? So, like, we're not, like, in danger of, like, ring drawing the game or anything. And it gives us another zone so we can, like, summon something to, like, deal with the Ojama King. And our opponent drawing a card isn't even bad. That just means that Walia decks out faster. So, like, I would have not burned our Mirror Force there. Like, that is a crucial mistake from Lunar. Because it's like, now what's Lunar going to do, right? Like, now this Mirror Force and Torrential are gone. Yeah, I would not play, like, 3 Dark Ruler. Because, again, like, you want to mix up your levels a bit to make Reasoning harder to call. Like, you should play, like, you know, a couple level 5s and a couple level 6s. Like, your level, you could, obviously Jinzo is going to be your main level 6. You can play Dark Ruler as another one. But then you should definitely play some Air Knights, too. You know, Air Knight's a good quality light monster in addition to Sacred Crane. So, yeah, obviously, you know, our Graceful's dead. Our opponent's cross-adding our Sinister. And so what do we have here? Oh, yeah, our opponent is dead. We could just go Tribe, discard Graceful, kill your board, summon BLS, meta our Ojama King into a random level 6, and kill our opponent. Yeah, so I think that's what he's going to do. Yeah, summon Tribe, kill the goats, summon BLS, and that's like 68. Yeah. Yeah, there are so many mistakes here from both players. Like, just so many mistakes this game. Game 1 wasn't that bad. There's just like a couple mistakes. This game, there's just so many mistakes. I have no idea why anyone would ever side out Ring. That is... You gotta be smoking crack to side out Ring. Like, Ring is arguably the best trap in the format. It is overall, it's certainly better than Mirror Force, and probably better than Torrential. Ring is just so good. You should never be siding that out. At that point, you might as well just start siding out Trinity, too, while you're at it. So yeah, Lunar's doing the classic, like, overextending his back row, like, turn 1. I'd summon Shining Angel, probably set Dust and Goats, and then attack. I think that's the obvious play. Yeah, I don't like this. Because, like, I assume, like, maybe Wally is thinking, like, oh, I don't want to get my Angel Saku'd. I'd rather, like, wait for him to attack into it and then, like, get Merchant and, like, start doing stuff with Tsukiyomi. But if our Angel gets Saku'd, like, that's not even bad for us, right? Because it puts a light in our grave, Tsukiyomi can be the dark, and then we can just play any Chaos monster. And, like, if our opponent has Cross out here, like, we're just so boned. So, like, it's ironic because, like, game 1, you were in a similar spot and did the opposite play, except you were going first. Like, when you're going first, I'm much more inclined to set the Angel, so that way our opponent, like, you know, our opponent, like, doesn't know what our set is. Like, we could have anything. It could be Angel, it could be Merchant, it could be Faith, it could be Dakochi, it could be Morphing Jar, whatever. But when our opponent is going first and he sets a monster, we often need to take the role of the aggressor, especially against Goat Control, where, like, keep in mind, we haven't seen anything like Spy all match. Like, we think that he's on Merchants instead of Spies, because we've seen Merchants and we've seen no Spies. So, if our opponent, like, has set, you know, a turn 1 Merchant, or, like, a turn 1 Faith, or a turn 1 Morphing Jar, or a turn 1 Dakochi, or whatever, like, we want to attack into it. And there just aren't a lot of downsides to doing so. Like, yeah, okay, our opponent has 2 back row, one of them can probably interact with our battle phase somehow, but we don't even care. If he Saku's our Angel, that's fine. I mean, hopefully we just don't get punished for it here. I don't know what's going on while our opponent's playing Heavy Storm. I guess he has, like, an Air Knight, maybe? Oh, no, he has a Faith. See, if we had attacked, look how awesome this would be. Our opponent would just have to book our Angel, and then we know that, like, the face down is some sort of, like, high-priority monster like a Faith. Like, again, there's just no reason not to attack. Like, it's just better in every way. We're just going to have to hope our opponent doesn't have Cross out here, because if he has Cross out, oh my god, this game is going to be so hard to win. So hard to win. I mean, or meta. That makes things pretty difficult, too. I mean, hopefully our opponent, like, just doesn't ever draw a Tsukiyomi or an Air Knight. Because now, like, we just don't have this... The light's not going to be in our grave until he, you know, does something with the 1,000 eyes. So yeah, this is such a bad spot. Like, I mean, yeah, we can like. I mean, luckily for us, like he didn't set a back row. I was assuming he was gonna like set like. I'm actually. Yeah, this is okay. So this is weird. I assumed that our opponent was gonna get back book with faith, but he got back heavy, which makes no sense. Yeah, that's terrible. I mean, luckily, like our opponent is just awful, so like we're just we're just not going to get punished by our terrible play. Because what he should have done is he should have gotten back book with the faith, set the book to protect the 1,000 eyes. Like we would Tsukiyomi target his 1,000 eyes, attack. He would book our Tsukiyomi, and then we'd take it, and then we'd just be so screwed. But like for some reason he got back heavy. Like here's the thing. If your opponent knows for a fact you have heavy in your hand, it's a pretty bad card because things like this happens. You heavy and they chain goats, right? Because like we know that he has heavy. Obviously, like we're not gonna just do something stupid. So yeah, like our opponent like played his Magician of Faith like totally wrong. Yeah, Merchant hits Graceful Air. It's pretty good for him. And yeah, now like man, if our opponent like has drawn into like an Air Knight or a Tsukiyomi at this point, oh man, it's not gonna be good news for us. Well, he discarded DD Warrior Lady and Breaker. Yeah, like his hand must be insane if he's discarding those. Okay, he's just this is really bad. Like, why are you BLSing here? We're at 8,000. This is just awful. Like, Lunar Dark God, I don't know if you're watching or if you're going to watch, but like the number one thing that you need to do in this format is just not play your cards like as soon as you draw them. Like, you probably just drew BLS off of you probably just drew BLS off of the Graceful. Like, you don't need to play it now. It accomplishes nothing. Like, you save BLS to answer a key threat. You don't play BLS to just kill 2 goat tokens. Like, that's not what you should do. So yeah, this is kind of an interesting spot. So, one thing that we can do, I don't know if we should do it or not, but one thing that we can do is we can summon Tsukiyomi, flip down the Magical Merchant, have Tsukiyomi attack into the BLS, we take 19, put a Dark in our grave, and then we can, like, play our Sorcerer, and then, like, Sorcerer his BLS, but then he, like, gets a Merchant trigger. Alternatively, we can summon Tsukiyomi, flip down the BLS, attack the Merchant for 900. And then we'll probably take like 3,000 next turn. It's tough. I mean, I'm not sure what I would do here. I'm not sure if I like setting Faith, unless we just think our opponent is like... Okay, this is... See, what our opponent could do here is he could have BLS banish our set Faith, and then go Tsukiyomi, flip the BLS down and up, and then attack us for like 43. Which is probably better. Oh Jesus! And now we're getting duoed. Oh man, this is rough. Obviously, we're discarding Tsukiyomi here. And for some reason, our opponent is like just attacking instead of banishing. Like, this is what? Oh my god! Like, it just kills me because like Lunar Dark Guy, if he played this game even slightly better, like even if he played this game like 2% better, like there'd just be no way we could win this game. But he's just playing his BLS like as poorly as humanly possible. Because if he really wanted to attack for damage, he could just BLS banish the Faith, Tsukiyomi the BLS, and then attack us for 43, which just seems way better. So yeah, I mean now I guess we're just playing the Sorcerer, hoping our opponent like doesn't have a book and just totally fuck us. And then I imagine we're just setting Merchant, setting Scapegoat, and saying go. Yeah. I mean, I'd say our opponent has to, be worried about Morphing Jar, but our opponent just has probably never played around a Morphing Jar a day in his life. And now he's like using 1,000 Eyes on our face down instead of our Sorcerer. And he's gonna Tribe kill his 1,000 Eyes on our Sorcerer. Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. Yeah, like I would have just saved the tribe and the Suki. Yeah, like he just discarded his Suki. Oh my god, this is so bad. This is so bad. Because if you just Thousand Eyes, take the sorcerer, then next turn you can just start Suku locking, and like again, there's like no way that we can win. But now, like yeah, Lunar has a lot more life points than us, but all we need to do, like we can just top deck a sorcerer, be back in the game. Um, we can top deck a Tsukiyomi to kill the tribe, be back in the game. I mean, we can. I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of other stuff too. Even like top decking a Snatch would be pretty good. We can top deck like a Pot of Greed. Top deck a Breaker, top deck a Skilled Dark Magician if we play that. And he's calling TD Warrior Lady. And I think we probably need to play Goats here. I would play Goats. Playing Goats here accomplishes two things. One is that we don't take 1500, right? That's pretty good. Keep in mind here, Premature Burial would be a very good top deck. A very good top deck. And now if we top deck Premature, that's live. If we top deck Meta, it's also not live. So playing the Scapegoat allows us to make 4 more cards in our deck live. And, like, we don't take 15. So, like, to me, that seems like a pretty good bargain. Yeah, and I guess, obviously, now we have to Goats. And I assume he's going to kill 2. Oh, we top deck Pot of Greed. It top deck Pot of Greed into meta. Ooh, this is kind of interesting. So I think what we should do here, keep in mind we haven't summoned yet. So I would meta into Thousand Eyes, obviously. I would take the tribe, and then I would summon Shining Angel, and then have the Thousand Eyes ram into the Warrior Lady. He banishes both, then we get in for another 14. And then, like, we're up a card and our opponent's top decking. And I think we still have some targets for Angel, right? Yeah, we still have DD Warrior Lady left in our deck, so yeah. Oh yeah, I don't agree with this at all. Again, we're just letting our opponent back in the game. We're up on cards, we need to start putting pressure on him. We don't want to let him just, like, top deck Ring and just kill us, right? Like, this is the same mistake you made in game 2, and you're just doing it again. See, we could have done this exact same play last turn, and, like, our opponent would have taken, 14 last turn, and he'd be taking 14 again this turn. So this misplay essentially cost you, like, 2,800 life points. Or, you're basically letting your opponent gain 2,800 for free. Is essentially what you're doing. And I don't know about you, but I don't like giving my opponent 2,800 life points for free. Oh man, he's attacking our Goat instead of our set monster. I really wish he'd attacked our set monster instead. Then we could search our Warrior Lady, banish Sangan. That blows. Yeah, I would not flip our Angel now. Like, as played, obviously we should have flipped Angel like 2 turns ago, but as played, I would keep the Angel set, let our opponent attack into it with Sangan, search DD Warrior Lady, and then go Warrior Lady, banish Sangan. Because, like, now I assume he's going to search Faith. And, like, Faith getting back Pot of Greed is, like, oh, man. That's just so shitty for us. For some reason, he's getting Morphing Jar instead. And he's going to end phase Goats. So I guess he has, like, meta? Why is he end phase goading here? Is his other card in hand exactly meta? And then why would he search Morphing Jar if he had meta? Wouldn't he, like, want to search, like, Tsukiyomi instead? I don't know. This whole sequence makes no sense to me from Lunar's side. Like, why are you playing end phase Goat here? What does that accomplish? Yeah, what is... You're like, just going to Goat lock yourself? Why? Yeah, like... so we're going to let our opponent Morphing Jar us for free? I don't know if I like that. Yeah, I don't like this at all. I would just cross out the morphing jar and like start, attacking goats. I do not like this one bit. Because now all our opponent has to do is just draw something good off the morphing jar. We're only at 800. And then like, oh man, it's just so hard to win. Like if our opponent draws ring, we lose. Because like we don't have book here, I don't think, right? Yeah, we have Saku crossout. I mean, our opponent is goat locked, I guess. He only has one meta left in his deck, assuming he plays 3. Yeah, and then he just tributes for Air Knight. Oh man, this sucks. Obviously we're Sakuing, but it's still not good for us. Because now our opponent's like ungoat locked himself. No idea why he end phase ghosts in the first place. That was just like, absolutely no sense. Like I feel like sometimes like these two players that I'm watching, like they're not thinking about their plays. They're just playing cards. Like, oh, I have this card that I can use. I'll do it. Like, no, you need to like sit there, take your time, like think about all your different options. Like I'm infamous in this format for like taking 10-minute turns, just thinking about like which cards I'm gonna set or something. Like be like me. Take 10-minute turns. Make all of your opponents hate you. Oh, Zura. Oh my god. And obviously you just can't search with Angel here. I mean, luckily, I think we have some Trinity in our grave, right? Yeah, we have Pot. I mean, we could get back meta. How many books does our opponent use? Because he has like 4 back rows set. He's used 1 book. Yeah, I'd probably get back Pot. Oh, that's an Azura. I thought that was something else. Yeah. We're obviously getting back Pot then. Yeah, sorry, I misread the board. Yeah, that happens to me sometimes too. While it's like my plays are okay, I'll do this, and then realizing, oh wait, I'm retarded as soon as he draws a card. That happens to me too. Like I'll do a play and then like immediately be like, fuck, I just did the wrong thing. It always happens that way. So we drew book now. That's a really good draw for us. Yeah, and like our duo is dead. I mean, I guess the bright side is like we have Tribe, I suppose, so we can like, discard. I mean, we have Sinister already for Tribe. Maybe if we want to use Tribe twice in one turn. Again, I would be looking to put pressure here. Well, our opponent has a Zura. So we have a couple options. I mean, we have a few different options. We can summon Tribe, kill the goats, and attack. We can summon Breaker. Try to, like, bait something. I kind of like that. Summon Breaker, like, try to bait Book. Then we don't have to worry about it later. I mean, setting Merchant isn't bad either. Setting Merchant's fine. I just consider your other options. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're setting Book. That's obvious. I mean, luckily our opponent like can't really do a whole lot other than just attacking to set monsters for a while. So I actually don't really mind this play at all of just setting Merchant. I kind of like it. Yeah, getting Ring isn't the greatest. I mean, it'll come in handy eventually, but it probably won't for a long time, especially since 2 of our opponent's metas are gone. I mean, maybe we'll be able to get into a spot where we can like draw the game with Ring. Like, see, imagine for a second if you like did what I was saying and your opponent was at 2,800 less life points. Your opponent would be at 37 right now instead of 65. And like your opponent being at 37 rather than 65, like it makes our Ring totally different. Because all we need to do is like do a few more life. Like if our opponent's at like 37, we could even try like get in a hit with try put him at 21. And then like Ring puts us in draw range, which is helpful. So it's just kind of like sometimes like a play won't seem that bad at the time, but 5 turns later you'd be like, oh, if I just done, the right play 5 turns ago, like I'd be in a so much better position now. Has our opponent like drawn no crossouts? Oh, he's actually drawn both of them already. That's good for us. So yeah, I don't mind just setting monsters here while our opponent's goat walked. Like, it's worth noting, our opponent using that end phase goats. Our opponent using end phase goats has like damaged him so much. Yeah, it's just damaged him so much. And like we can even start setting Sinister if we really want to. Yeah. I don't mind this play at all. I mean, the good news is our opponent will deck out before us, but I highly doubt this game is going to come down to deck out, just because our life points are so low. Our opponent is eventually going to find a way to kill us. Yeah, this game's a little awkward because we've used like all 5 of our spell and trap zones now. Yeah, I've used all of our chaos monsters. I don't know how we're gonna win exactly. I guess our plan probably is to deck him out. I don't know why we're MSTing here. I don't see, like, generally speaking, I try to save MST for a power card like Snatch, Pre, or Call. Like, MSTing one of your opponent's 5 back rows just does absolutely nothing. And I also don't agree with mirror forcing here, because like what's that intended to accomplish exactly? Like, the Azura's not a threat. Has our opponent already used heavy? Yeah, he has. So like, yeah, I just don't see what that was intended to accomplish at all. But yeah, I think at this point we're just on the deck out plan. Our opponent's MSTing our ring. Here we have to think whether to chain it and kill a goat or not. And I think we probably don't to goat lock him. I guess we are chaining it on a goat. I probably disagree with that, because I think if we're going to win, it has to be by deck out. And if we're trying to deck him out, we'd obviously rather our opponent have another zone. Yeah, I guess we can use cross out here. And obviously keep in mind, if we ever want to get rid of all the goats, we have tribe anyway. So, like, ringing a goat ringing a goat is almost just strictly a downside, because it gives him an extra zone, and it's not like, oh, maybe there'll be a situation where I need to go for game, and like I'd rather him not have the extra goat, because we just have tribe anyways. So like, so yeah, we definitely shouldn't be ringing the goat there. Like, cross-outing the monster is, well, okay, I don't get why we're doing this. If we're going to meta into Thousand Eyes, I don't know why we're burning our cross-out. We should either be doing one or the other, not both. Yeah, see, if we had just meted originally, we'd just still have a cross-out, which would be pretty nice. And, like, yeah, now we've already, or no, we haven't used our normal summon yet. So, I guess we're just summoning Breaker or setting Breaker? I don't know, I'd probably just summon it. And I have no idea why we're setting Duo. I mean, I guess maybe we're like trying to bait spell or trap removal. And again, I have no idea why our opponent is end phasing goats unless he has meta. Like, yeah, like why are you doing this? Like no offense here to either of these players, but like based on like the plays that I'm seeing, I can tell Lunar is definitely the worst player of the two. Like, Walia like at least like sort of understands like the very minimal basics. He just like has some like sequencing problems and like understanding like what to commit when. Like, Lunar just clearly has no idea how his deck works, like at all whatsoever. So, like, Lunar, like, really needs to, like, start, like, watching some GOAT matches, like, understanding that, like, you're not just supposed to randomly end phase GOATs every time you have it. That's not what the card is for. Like, this isn't Link format where you end phase goats and go into like 2 Link monsters or something. That's, you know, that's not what we're doing here. This is interesting. We've drawn heavy. I mean, yeah, I don't see what heavying's gonna do. Like, we could heavy and then like go tribe, discard sinister, kill goats, like attack set monster, attack for 16. But that doesn't really do anything. You know, again, if we had like played, you know, 10 turns ago completely differently, our opponent would have 2,800 less, and then maybe we could have like attacking for damage as like a viable strat. But at this point, we probably just have to go for deck out. So I think we're just setting sinister and passing. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's you know the correct play. So what does he even get back here? He's getting back Pot of Greed with 3 cards left in his deck. Alright, I have no idea like what he's hoping to draw into. I mean, I guess he's hoping to draw into Ring, and then he's gonna like attack our set breaker and try to ring it for game. But we just have book. Okay, yeah, I don't know what Cross-Sight's gonna do. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, yeah, he said, oh, Pot, wait, never mind, I want Cross-Sight. Okay, that's fair, I agree with that. And he's crossing out our breaker. He's tributing for Air Knight. Oh, that's pretty awkward for us, because, like, we have to book it or we lose, but then we can't snatch it because, you know, it's face down. You know, keep in mind if we'd never set Duo, we'd be able to discard it for Tribe here. It's just worth mentioning. Obviously, we're playing Heavy Storm here, no question. Oh, wow, it's Cylinder. Well, that's a relief. I mean, you still kind of have to worry about Ring. Yeah, and then we're going to go into... Yeah, I mean, we could, like... Yeah, I mean, we just have to go into Thousand Eyes. You know, it's funny, like, if we played, like... If we played a few things differently, I think our opponent... We could probably just, like, tribute for Air Knight and, like, kill our opponent. But since, like, we've just never gone for damage, like, at all previously, we just, like, have to rely on this deck out plan, which, like, hopefully it works. Yeah, we haven't summoned a monster yet, so, yeah, we can set Tribe. I can get on board with that. Like, next turn, we just add back Sinister. Well, shit. Yeah, he goes, kill your Thousand Eyes. And I realize, too, he can kill all of his goats if he wants and, like, add another monster to his board. Yeah, and then now he's going to attack our set Tribe. I mean, I guess we're just adding back Sinister. What are we doing? Okay, we're adding back Sinister. So what I would probably do here, actually, is I would set Sinister. Fuck, this is so unreal. I actually think what I would do, because keep in mind, our opponent hasn't used Ring yet, right? I'm not high, I'm not on drugs. Okay, good. I think what we have to do in order to play around a top deck Ring is we have to snatch Tribe and tribute it for set Air Knight and say go. That way Ring doesn't kill us. Oh, maybe he's actually going to do it. I would be like so proud of him if he did. Okay, he's not doing it at all. And I guess we're setting Sinister and saying go. Like, did this guy just, like, side out Ring for 2 games and he's just going to lose because of it? Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, you didn't, like, obviously, Wally, you didn't get punished here because you just got Mirror Forced, and then, like, I don't know. I don't know why he would Mirror Force there, because he can just take 16 every turn, gain 1,000 of it back, so you're really only dealing 600 every turn. He gets to save the Mirror Force, and he gets the top deck Ring to kill you. So, like, again, you're just, like, kind of being... And I have no idea why we sided in Mind Control. Like, you made a bad play, and you're just probably not going to get punished for it. All right, and our opponent admits defeat. Well, I'm saying, like, I'm not saying if he had ring set, he can draw it, right? Because the problem is, if you snatch the tribe, attack your opponent for 16, and he top decks ring, the game's over. Whereas, if you snatch the tribe and tribute for set Air Knight and just let him keep his 4 goats, one, he only has 1 monster zone open, and, you know, 2, he can't top deck ring to kill us. And it's like, it's pretty difficult for us to lose at that point. So, like, obviously our opponent just, like, sided out the best card in his deck for 2 games and just let us win. But, like, I'm not going to, like, base my plays around, oh, hopefully my opponent sided out ring. So yeah, like, if you just snatch the tribe and tribute for set Air Knight, like, you just win. You just win. Because your opponent can't ring you. I mean, he can still summon a monster, attack into your set Air Knight, and then, like, ring the Air Knight if, like, the monster doesn't have at least 800 attack. Yeah, I mean, our opponent, like, left Sinister in his grave, like, the entire game, I think. Yeah, he, like, forgot Sinister, like, 10 turns ago and just never added it back. So, yeah, I mean, your opponent still could have, like, summoned Sinister, attacked into your set Air Knight, and then ringed the Air Knight for game. But I think, like, the plan is just to hope that he, never remembers to add back his Sinister, I guess. Also, did we, like, use both of our books? What is... So, like, I guess the last card in our deck was the second Book of Moon? That's pretty unlucky. Or did we just, like, side out books for some bizarre reason? I don't know. Either way, I mean, you both have a lot to work on. Like, Lunar in particular, I think, like, doesn't even understand, like, even the, like, very most basic things behind how to play his deck. Wally, you may just need to, like, think more. Like, I know you're not, like, you know, some sort of, like, mentally handicapped person. So, like, literally just take, like, 2 more minutes every turn to think about your plays. Think about future scenarios, pros and cons. And then you'll be doing, like, much better, I think. Like, your deck isn't awful. Like, you know what card advantage is. I mean, I still wouldn't play Air Knight in your deck. Like, playing, like, 3 Chaos Monsters in an Air Knight is just pretty hard to get away with. You're just going to lose, like, way too many matches to, like, opening hand variants. But yeah, other than that, it's fine. It's definitely good to, like, you know, review one of these games every once in a while so you guys can sort of see, I don't know what I'm trying to say. You know, see, you know, what mistakes people make. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'm going to call it a day.